So I like to explain ICC the way I do because everything is price action, the indication, the correction, the continuation, which is all this is price action. All this is market structure. Higher high, higher low, higher high. So everything's the same thing. You don't have to wait for certain things because if you have a higher low, price is proceeding to try to make that higher high. So yesterday I was explaining to you guys like, okay, if price tries to make a higher low and we've already had a previous higher low down here, this means that bulls are getting stronger in price. So now price is going to try to proceed to make a high. Now, if it would have rejected right here, then that just would have been another equal high. And then price would have been looking to break this level and it would have been different. Then you would have been looking for lows under here, a correction, and then a lower high and then another lower low. That's what you will be looking for. But instead, price gave us a higher low and then proceeded to try to make that higher high, which it did. Now, where are we at in this standpoint on the market now? Well, common sense. If price just made a higher low and then off this higher low, it made a higher high, what do you think price is going to try to do? Another higher low. And when it makes another higher low, then you wait to see when price is going to build back up, which is probably going to be on the 1 hour time frame. Um, Here was a little bit different. As you can see, price made that equal high, came down, made a higher low level, and then started to push up. I'm pretty sure on the 15 it would have looked different. Yeah, the 15 looks way different. As you can see here, this is the highest level that price has gotten. Even here, we could see lower high, sorry, lower high, and lower high here. And then as you can see, price ended up breaking above that lower high, pushing up. This could be your indication for the 15, scaling down and seeing that price has made that correction. We already scaled down, but seeing that correction in the market, a retest again, if you want to call it a retest, and then a push back up again. So this was essentially price making a high, higher low, and then now price is looking for that higher high, which it made. And you could do this on any time frame. I just really love using the higher time frame. So 4 hour, 1 hour. A lot of people was asking me yesterday too on how come I don't use the 1 hour as much, or they hasn't haven't seen me often use the 1 hour. It's because the 1 hour now, like it still works. Don't get me wrong, it still works. But with the 1 hour, I feel like it's not giving me the same thing as the 4 hour time frame is now. Because if we look at the 4 hour, we can see clear structure. Like we can see that higher high, that higher low, that higher high, that higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? We can still see the same thing on the 1 hour. It just might be a bit more candles that are unnecessary to what we're trying to see, right? Some of these candles don't really matter to what we're trying to see, and it could psych you out. Like things could psych you out and make you think, oh, price is bearish. Like all this movement right here, you probably would have thought consolidation or prices trying to, get ready to sell. And also as well, right? Let me pull this up. Let me see. Let me try to pull this up for you guys. I want to explain. Uh, let's see. Sign in. Okay, wrong password. One sec. Give me one sec. All right, calm, calm, calm. I'm gonna just post it on here. So look, we have. All right, so boom. The other day, right? So this was 5 days ago. So this was right around like Thursday, Friday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And I said that goal was gonna hit 5,000. Once it hits 5,000, it was gonna go to 5,100. And then there's gonna be a drop. Hard, right? So, as we can see, I think a lot of people got confused. They thought that I meant that it was just gonna completely sell off, all the way back down to like, wherever they was thinking, but that's not the case. If we go and look at where all this even started, right? Let's say here, I'm pretty sure it was here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was this week right here. It was this week right here. Somewhere around this week right here. And price ended up buying up. It bought up to 5,100. Once it got to 5,100, it sold off. Once it sold off, this was all to create. The only reason I think people kind of got it where it was like, oh, well, it's going to sell off hard, but it's going to sell off because it was going to sell hard because it was trying to make that higher low. And I felt like even looking at price then, even now, I still feel like price is overextended, but there's never too much buying and too much selling. But even then, the only reason I made that, prediction, if you want to call it prediction, is due to the fact that price has been buying, 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 and I felt like the price needed some type of pullback. And normally, after a huge milestone, you will see some type of correction, some type of pullback that will be aggressive. Hence, look at BTC, right? Once BTC hit like 125, it made a super, super big change and hitting 125, and then it corrected. Even though this correction hasn't picked back up, BTC hit this number and it just completely sold off. And it doesn't have to be a big sell-off, but a huge amount of sellers come into the market. So just to clear that one up, people thought that they should be looking for sales, even if you thought that in your mind as a trader, you're supposed to be individually thinking for yourself. In your mind, how is price going to sell when there's no indication or no structure? I'm gonna start saying it like this. Instead of indication, I'm gonna just say structure. There's no structure showing you that price is getting ready to sell off, and there's no structure showing you that. So even if you thought that I meant, oh, price is gonna go on a downtrend, looking at price, we see that once again, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? That sell-off was a higher low, right? And the thing is about this is you see this all the time on the 1 hour time frame. You see this all the time on the 15-minute time frame. But the moment you go higher, sometimes the 1 hour, the moment you go higher to the 4 hour daily, you lose that this is structure. Like all this is just setting itself up for a bigger move. I think people get confused about that when it comes to trading price action. They'll see this on the 15-minute all the time. They'll see the same higher lows setups and higher highs. So they'll see this. But the moment they change trends or I mean they change time frames, they get completely confused on what they should be looking for. What I'm gonna say to help that is everything's still the same thing. It's just gonna be way longer on the higher you go. So the higher the time frame you go, the longer it takes to build these structures. Now, the moment that it does build it, expect the push to be strong. So the moment price sets, but it's kind of like boxing, right? So the moment you plant your feet and you actually dig your feet into the ground, everything after that, the punch you throw after that is going to be full force because you're planted, you're set, and you're ready to explode. So if that analogy makes sense to you, let me see if I can come up with another one. Like uh I don't even know for real right now off the top of my head. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, basically all Price is doing is planting his feet. So it's running, 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 running. Once it slows down. Once it's ready to pick back up that momentum, plants his feet and then explodes off that back foot or explodes off. Why am I explaining it like I'm a coach? But it explodes off that back feet. You need a lot of power to be put on that back foot or front foot, whatever the case might be, and then explode off of it. And that's basically what Price is doing, giving it a rest, or it's pushing, 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 slows down. Once it's ready to go back up again, presses off that momentum and then proceeds to go forward. And that's all price is doing is pressing off momentum. And without momentum, you don't, or without structure, you have no momentum. So without proper foundation, without proper fundamentals, you will not have that momentum. That's the best way to explain it. Like that's honestly the best way I can explain it to you is you really need momentum, and momentum is caused by structure. If there's no structure, it will not have momentum. So if prices, let's do downtrend this time, right? Um, let's go ahead and just flip it like this so you don't get confused, right? So if we're looking at a downtrend, and it's pretty much the same thing. Price will build up. So in this case, it works negatively. So the other way around. So you're not really exploding. It's kind of like you're decreasing. But let's just use that analogy still. Price will push, 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 push. Once it feels like it needs to rest, it'll slow down, maybe speed walk or something. Once it starts doing that, it'll come and do whatever it needs to do. Here was a little bit of consolidation, but it's cool. A little high right here built. And then price ends up breaking back structure and it's ready to push again. So now that it's ready to push again, it's pushing off of this lower high. It's creating a lower high. So it's setting up the play and then pushing off of that lower high back down low. And once it's resting, it'll rest, come here. Once it feels like it's ready to go, it'll create a lower high, push off of that lower high and make a move. So all this right here, consolidation after price made a new low, that's normal. Normally after price makes some type of big movement, there will be um, some stagnant movement in the market, which is pretty okay. It's normal because it just used a lot of volume. Like, the best way to explain it is like if you did a 5 mile run, you're gonna need to, take a break after that 5 miles or that 3 miles or 2 miles, right? You're not gonna keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Like you need to condition yourself for those things. So in this case, it already ran, it's taking a break. Once it feels like it's taking good enough break, it goes back for that push again. Now, right here, to explain this right here, we have this level and then we have this level, right? This is a no trade zone. So if you guys don't know, a no trade zone is when price has equal buyers and equal sellers. And in between these levels, you can't do much, right? So this is like being super tired. You're really, really tired and you just really can't do anything right now. So you need to breathe. Like you need to breathe. Like you're not Superman, right? You need to breathe. So in this case, this is the best way to explain it. This is where the trend can change, right? This is a moment where the trend can change. When price starts going into a no trade zone, this is when the trend can change. So to put that analogy, this is like when you're on your run and then you're like, okay, I can either go home or I can continue my miles. I can either go home or continue my miles. Two different directions. One's going to lead in progression of the trend. So one's going to continue doing what it was doing and then the other one's completely reversing and going into a different direction. So if you go home early, you didn't do all your miles, you're going home, so you're basically changing your progression, changing the path that you're taking. So you're not going to get stronger this day, right? So it's not getting stronger. This downtrend wouldn't get any stronger, but instead it says, no, let's push through and let's go for more. So what does it do? It pushes through. So as a human, you would push for more laps or for more miles, and you progress the trend that you already started. So if you already started running here, if you was running here, you started running here, you had to take a break. Instead, you was like, oh no, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit here. Then you would go into the opposite direction. So you have no growth in your trend. There's no growth here, right? But instead, you're like, okay, let me continue to run. Let me continue to go more. You progress what you already started. You already started running, so now you're progressing it. That's all a trend is. It's progression. A lot of it is progression. There's going to be breaks, there's going to be stops, there's going to be higher lows, there's going to be downs, there's going to be ups. That's what comes with a trend. You're not always going to be a perfect athlete or you're not always going to be a perfect musician. There's always ups and downs in life in general. You're not going to be a perfect human. If it was perfect, it would just go straight and it would just go like this, or it would just go like this. And that's not how life works at all. So trading is exactly like life. Trading needs steps, it needs problems, it needs obstacles, it needs things to get in the way to mix it up so that way it can build for stronger momentum. You need stronger momentum. Everything you go through in life builds you as a person, and then you use that for, building character, building yourself as a human being, or, bettering your mindset and becoming more intelligent, or, more athletic, or more philosophical, stuff like that. But yeah, this is all we're doing, right? Price needs the momentum. The momentum pushes price down. Price needs more momentum, pushes price off that momentum. All you're looking for is what happens here. How do I know that this is changing? This momentum is changing. And this all comes from scaling down and looking for what you see here. So what you see here will be on the 15-minute just like this. So the 15, this is a uptrend. Boom, it'll uptrend. And then you'll start to see price progressing down. And you'll see this on a smaller time frame. So once you feel like price, so let's say, let's remove all this. Um, let's go here, right? Let's look at price now. We got like 4 minutes before market opens, right? So let's say we have this high and then we get this low, or we're anticipating this low, right? What we would do then, it could be short, it could be big, as long as it doesn't break the higher lows. So our previous higher lows is here and here. So as long as it really, as long as it doesn't break this is what confuses people. Just keep tracking this. Let's put it this way. Let's just keep tracking this. Higher low, higher high. So this was our last previous higher high. It broke. So now we have a new higher high. So now let's focus on, let's not let price break below here. So now we can move this alert up and we can put it here. As long as price doesn't break here, we're good. We'll keep this alert here just in case price comes back to this level. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to pay attention to what price is doing. So we can set an alert halfway, whatever we want. We could do it halfway. And the reason why we'll do it halfway, because price could push back down. It could be small, it could be big, but if price is small here, we don't have to really stress ourselves out about that, because ideally we would want price to come back down to here. That way we can get more momentum for a push. But here, sometimes the price comes here and it builds a small momentum, it's just going to push very small. In some cases, it's going to push very small before it then has another pushback, which then we can use. So even if price buys from here, so basically what I'm saying is, even if price comes here, pushes from here, don't feel discouraged that you're missing a trade, or you're missing pips, or points, or whatever the case might be. Just know that if it's pushing, it's going to push for a bit, but it's still going to give some type of correction, some type of higher low later on. And that's where patient builds, right? Some of these trades I wasn't in, but I didn't get discouraged. I was just like, I have to wait for my right time, because sooner or later, price is going to make a higher low and push off that momentum. So the topic of today is really momentum, understanding that without structure, you have no momentum. Um, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I feel like people are also not really understanding. I hope you guys are understanding. I try every day to make more and more sense to you guys, but yeah, this is the best way I would explain it. You can turn the chat back on. This is the best way I would explain it. Yeah, one sec, one sec. All right. Yo, that's crazy. One sec. I got you. One sec. All right, go ahead. Uh, you need to share your screen. Oh, okay, okay.